Low bites.
Torbjorn, the goddamn MVP, one of the first Overwatch members, part of the original 6. He had a huge hand in helping the entire world through his physical efforts and his engineering genius. He was instrumental in the extremely advanced technology and arms of Overwatch. To put it simply, this dwarf was a huge part of why the world and humanity remains. He's a pretty big deal, even though he's a small dude. Before the Omnic Crisis, Torbjorn was a respected and notorious engineer who designed weapons and weapon systems that were currently being used by massive amounts of factions and groups all over the globe. Even though he was extremely successful, his bosses came to blows with him over one very important topic. Torbjorn believed that technology must lead to a better humanity, whereas his employers simply wished to take his technology, or weapons, and control them via computer intelligence. The gun wouldn't need the person to hold it, aim it, and fire it. The gun would just fire itself at whatever it was willed to fire at, was the general concept anyway. Torbjorn was against this due to a mistrust of sentient robot intelligence. He felt that one day it would backfire. He was actually mostly alone in this thinking, considered foolish and paranoid, right up until the majority of the entire world went under attack by billions of Omnic robots that served humanity. The Omnic Crisis. This is the point where Torbjorn completely gets to say, I fucking told you so. The nations were failing to defend humanity and formed one team together from their best and brightest. Sweden sent forth Torbjorn, and he was accepted into the original 6. Thanks to Torbjorn, ending the crisis was possible. There was no other like Torbjorn and his understanding of the enemy they faced. Not only instrumental in understanding how to fight and end the crisis, but also instrumental in the weapons that they used to fight with. Without him, the Omnic Crisis may never have ended. The original 6 was so successful, the team remained after the crisis and formed a group known as Overwatch. Maybe you've heard of it? To protect the world should they need to, and to protect all life. Naturally, our boy Torb was key to Overwatch's success, creating the many weapons and technology that were desperately sought after. The many forms of fighting that the enemies of Overwatch just couldn't face or triumph over for a time. It's my belief that Talon was instrumental in the corruption of Blackwatch, the covert operations of Overwatch. When Overwatch fell, the technology was stolen, Torbjorn's life work. Meanwhile, the world and humanity had felt betrayed by Overwatch, and the former heroes were shunned and hated. Many are currently being hunted to this day by bounty hunters for their reward, or maybe even Talon members trying to finish the job they started. Meanwhile, Torbjorn felt a deep responsibility for his creations that were now spread out all over the world and being used for personal gain or killing innocent people. It became his life mission to reclaim his technology from those who should not have it and prevent as much loss of life by his weapons as possible. Now at this point I'd like to talk to you about Torbjorn's biggest weakness and flaw as a character. He's an extremely important character to the world, don't get me wrong. He's caused the success of Overwatch in a big way. He's been instrumental in advancing humanity, but that does not mean he is a perfect character. His fear and mistrust of the Omnics remains to this day. We hear him talk of this when he's on New Barney. He's simply against the concept of humans and Omnics living in peace together. Yet the man's main goal is to bring peace to the world, and then he's so against this specific kind of peace? That's hardly fair or right. Now, I can understand why he feels this way. He felt this way before the Omnic Crisis even happened, and now, after he was proven right, he may never trust any Omnic in his entire lifetime. And this is a terrible thing, because you have great examples in the world of Omnics that are peaceful, that are good, that just want to live. Just look at Zenyatta, man. His fear comes from the fact that these robots could ultimately cause another Omnic Crisis if they were taken over and forced to do someone's bidding like before. But we do know that if that were to happen again, the world would need Torbjorn. But it doesn't change the fact that his hatred for all Omnics is somewhat misplaced and unfair. But no one is perfect. Now let's look at a perfect example of how Torbjorn is so important to this world, and his understanding of technology is truly crucial. But also, what I'd like to talk about is how he's able to be on the front lines and make it happen. He's not the kind of guy who's going to tinker and create something and then hide and let someone else do the work for him. He goes in himself. Damn, that's crunchy. In the comic Destroyer, we see Torbjorn in his cute and hilarious looking biohazard suit. Fun fact, we've actually seen someone in this type of suit before in this opening slide. Is that just Torbjorn in the opening cinematic? But no, he's there too. So why are there two Torbjorns in this cinematic? There isn't two of other characters here. My explanation for this will come later in the video. Anyway, Torb comes out of the sewer just as he planned to, at the foot of this massive destroyer, doing just what it's meant to do. destroy. The loss of life this mass of metal was causing was simply too much, and he was the best man to take it down. As he says himself, he knows its blind spots. He was one of those who made these things. Sneaking in through a hatch, making his way through the guts of this monster, a familiar voice sounds out through the halls. An old colleague, if not a friend. Someone Torbjorn had not respected in his methods. A man known as Sven. Sven explains why he's attacking this city. He explains that he's doing it to, quote, preserve our species. Ironic, don't you think, given what he's doing? Sven seems to want to create an ultimate deterrent, the same reason nuclear bombs exist. If you can wipe out your enemy with ease, your enemy won't ever attack you, was his reasoning. Sven's attacking the city because he believes it to be a corrupt dictatorship, which is both ruthless and immoral. He says this while killing many innocent people, all from this control point at the top of the destroyer. However, Torbjorn never believes him for a second, revealing the fact that Sven might be able to lie about what it is he's doing and why, but at the end of the day, Sven just wants money. He'll probably just give this destroyer to whoever pays him the most, not necessarily the people who would use it for good. Easily defeated by Torbjorn, the destroyer is deactivated, and countless lives are saved. And this comic is the perfect example of how Torbjorn might be a genius engineer, but he has humanity's best interest at heart and is willing to do the dirty work himself. He's a fighter. Now quickly shoot back to what I said earlier. Why is Torbjorn shown here twice and no one else is? Well, in my eyes, Sven and Torb are two birds of the same feather, and there were more birds. I think that this engineer is an old friend of Torbjorn, a character we might see in the future of Overwatch, a new hero to play perhaps, hidden away under that suit. Just like many characters in this slide, we have many more heroes and villains to unlock and play as in the future of Overwatch. I like to think that this robot here could be the physical manifestation of Athena, just as an example. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you think about Torbjorn? Is he right about the Omnics? Do you think we'll see this other dwarf in game? And finally, who would you like to hear about next in the future episodes of Lawbite? I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.